Last week, both Sony and Pixar released trailers for their new animated features, and they couldn't be more different, which made me realize that thematically, literally, and even corporately, these are just two completely different animals. So what does that mean for the future of animated features? And how is this a surprising round two in the battle between Sony and Pixar? Let's dig into it. Hey there, welcome back to Surviving Animation, your guide to make it in the business of cartoons. My name's Eric Calderon. Today we are talking about Hoppers and Fixed, and how two movies about animals could not be any more different. Hoppers is a kid-friendly comedy based around the idea of a girl whose consciousness hops into the body of a robotic replica of a beaver, where she can now hear all the voices of every animal in a basic forest with a lake. It's Pixar's usual CG and is being directed by Daniel Chung, who's been part of the senior creative team at Pixar for Luca and Elio. He also has art department credits on 15 or more feature films from a variety of studios, but he's most famously known for being the creator of the series We Bare Bears. The script is credited to Daniel and Jesse Andrews, the screenwriter for Luca, who also contributed to Elio, and the film is set to debut theatrically sometime in 2026. Fixed, on the other hand, is an extremely adult animated film about a dog named Bull and his final wild night out on the town before being neutered. It's fully hand-drawn in a 90s kind of vibe and is being directed by none other than Genndy Tartakovsky, the legendary force behind Dexter's Laboratory, Samurai Jack, Primal, the 2D animated Star Wars Clone Wars series, and something like 30 to 35 different projects in the TV and film world. The story comes from a longtime TV veteran writer named Steve Greenberg, whose credits go back as far as 1978 on the series Quincy, and a string of 80s cops and lifestyle procedurals. Rich LaFrano, a person who I actually found no prior credits for, is also credited as a story writer, and John Vitti, who's known for stuff like The Office, King of the Hill, Simpsons, The Larry Sanders Show, and the Angry Birds movie, is the screenwriter. The film will be released on Netflix's streaming service on August 13th. So what's been the reaction to both of these films? Well, I spent a few hours going through the comments on both of the trailers, and I was a bit surprised. So let me first start off by saying I wasn't actually personally really blown away by either of these. I mean, when I looked at Hoppers, I thought, hey, this looks great, it's really cool, but it didn't really have, kind of the big wow factor that I think feature films need to have right now to survive. And I just wasn't crazy about the name. I mean, I get it, hopping from one body to the other. Yeah, it makes sense, but every time I thought about Hoppers, I just kept thinking about like rabbits or like the thing that holds tennis balls. Now, in terms of Fixed, I tried to watch it. I went through the whole trailer, and I don't know, maybe I'm just like too old, or maybe I spent too much time in adult animated comedies already, but I didn't really find anything funny. Like nothing made me laugh out loud. I just kind of had like this shocked face the whole time, and it wasn't comfortable. So at the end of it, I didn't really have a good feeling about either of these trailers. If you dig into the data of these trailers, that's where things get really interesting. As of this recording, the trailer for Hoppers has 6 million views, 68,000 likes, and 6,728 comments. I combed through several hundred of these, and I was pleasantly surprised to see that almost all of them were positive. Lots of them recognizing and giving praise to Daniel Chung, the creator of We Bare Bears. And the only recurring theme that kept coming up over and over again was, Disney, please market this film properly, which is really an eye-opener to me. I mean, fans are asking for more marketing so a film can be successful. That's crazy to me. So I can happily say that my first impression of Hoppers was totally wrong. People really like it. Now turning to Fix, as of this recording, the trailer has 502,000 views, 9,200 likes, and 4,793 comments. Note that this is only like 11% of the total views as compared to Hoppers, but the ratio of comment per views is far, far higher. For Hoppers, that's like one comment every 900 views, while for Fixed, it's like a comment for every 100 views. And boy, do they have opinions. It's a literal dumpster fire. I actually couldn't find a single unironic compliment for the entire project. And the recurring theme here was, this project is going to kill 2D animation for good. So what conclusions can we draw from looking at both of these films? Well, the first thing I'll say is that the war for animation dominance continues, and that war is going to be film to film, project to project, and two very different animals can have hits and misses. So in the case of Pixar, they had a big miss with Elio, and they got a lot of flack for trying to do the same old thing again with the same old character design. But here we are with something that feels better, that isn't actually that different than their normal approach. Okay, I will give them credit for actually doing a little bit different on the design. I will give them credit for actually trying a more straight comedy approach and not trying to pull all those heartstrings, but who knows, in the upcoming trailers, we'll probably get that too. But overall, we're seeing navigational changes in small degrees. So I think Pixar is kind of holding the line. On the other side, you look at Sony and their famous approach of every film being totally different, every style being its own style specific to the film, and really following the director's passion and lead and style. Hey, I'm all for that. I think it's a great strategy. It's totally different than Pixar's, but in this case, it resulted in what looks like a terrible miss. It looks like kind of a bunch of dudes kind of getting together and making themselves laugh and trying to get a project that's been around for a decade and finally putting this kind of very base humor in a 2D animated format that's a real throwback to the 90s. And in my opinion, it just doesn't work at all. But that's okay because just weeks ago, they're on top of the world with K-pop Demon Hunters. So if you look at this hit and miss industry, if you look at kind of the successes and failures of these two very different animals, the biggest conclusion I will make on this whole thing is that if you think you know what will make a successful film and it's super easy to you and obvious, guess what? It's not. Film is complicated, animation is complicated, telling a great story is complicated, making it succeed is even more complicated. So you know what? At the end of the day, maybe we're all just wild, rabid animals just gnawing at everything in front of us and hoping it's entertaining to someone. And guess what? I'm okay with that because that's the business of cartoons. All right. Well, that's all I got for you. I hope you enjoyed that little comparison, and I will see you in the next one.